Good morning and welcome to the Better Thyself edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We live in a life which at times is exciting and then that excitement slowly fades away and we live in a rut. We think, what are we doing? Is life worth living? Am I achieving my goals? Am I making an impact? And then these ruts happen to us all the time. Life is amazing one day, peachy at another time, and the next. It's such a painful act to live a life. And we are then realizing that life is not a fun place to live in. Why? This is getting into a mental rut. And this mental rut is a situation which is peculiar to most of the people most of the time. You know, in case it's a situation where 60% time you are in a state of excitement and then 40% possibly you are in a state of rut, this was acceptable. If you're more than 70% in a state of excitement and 30% in a state of rut, that is excellent. But to say that you are 60% or 70% in a state of rut, and excitement is a very, very short, transient situation, then it is something for you to be worried about. Because your rut is a sign of impending intellectual doom. So how to get out of the rut? Now let me tell you one thing first clear in the beginning. Rut is not something which happens to you, it happens to most of us. As a matter of fact, none of us is free from the situation of not being in a rut at one time or the other. It's only the number of times that can differ. Even the best people in the world, the heroes, the go-getters, the religious leaders have been in that state. Even Jesus Christ was said, "Oh Lord, what have you done? Why have you forgotten me?" That was a state of mental rut. So first step in case you want to get out of rut is to identify and recognize that you are indeed in a rut. That's the most important thing. Until and unless you are sure or you acknowledge the fact you are in a rut, you cannot get out of it. You are lying in a bed, and until and unless you accept that you are lying in a bed, you can't get up and start walking. The same is here. It's a mental state, and you have to recognize that you are in a mental state which is not a very healthy one. So you have to get out of that rut. And first thing is, as I said, accept it. So what exactly is this mental rut and how do you know if you are in one? Mental rut is a state when a negative series of thoughts about yourself and your future surround you and they lead to the avoidance of either action that can get you out a better future or lead to those actions which can make you feel better and propel you, force you to go in a proper direction, in the right direction. So this is one thought coming after another. What I have done. My friends don't recognize me. My relations don't bother for me. My salary is not increasing. My house is not okay. My family is not happy. And one after the other, these thoughts come. And you know instinctively that if you start and get up the things, you can avoid such thoughts. Or you can take action that will help you go in a better direction. But you don't do it. That means you have negative thoughts playing in a loop and you are just going through the motions without putting energy towards your goal. And when you just sit there, thinking, musing, ruminating negatively, not positively, when you feel that you are like an autumn leaf being buffeted by the winds of the life and you have no control on that, then you are really a citizen of the mental rut, a citizen of the rut city, as I'll call it. So you have to accept that you are in that city, and then these are the few tips I'm giving you which can help you get out of the rut. The first is set some goals. And when I say set some goals, that means set those self or small attainable goals. The goal should not be such which you can not attain, or you can attain over a long period of time. Have some goals which you can achieve immediately. And once you set about setting those goals and then trying to achieve them, you start getting out of the rut. Very simple things: cleaning out your closet, sending an important email that you have been putting off, picking up your phone and talking to a friend whom you have not talked for a long time. And then you will feel a satisfaction that you have sent that email, you have talked to your friend, and you have cleaned your closet, you have made your bed. These small things, these are the small victories. They will lead you feeling very positive. And once you have that feeling, you will feel, well, you have achieved something. Whether even if it's cleaning the closet, even if it's making up the bed, dressing up. But each is an achievement. And that helps you get to the right, because then you're in a sense of achievement. So small attainable goals, small goals which you can achieve immediately, set them one after the other. Clean the closet, set the books in the proper order, start dusting the bedroom, start dusting the living room, go and clean your car, and things like that, small things which you can keep on doing, do the laundry, and on and on. So you see, what happens is, when you are in a state of rut, you feel powerless. There's a lack of momentum. But once you start, then you get the momentum and you keep on doing. So small things would lead, you'll forget that you were in a rut. That flow of the negative emotions which were troubling you would slowly be over. There'll be a dam built. You have a flow of that river, and you have built a dam by your actions that diverts you. Second, okay, practice mindfulness, making mindful meditation. Focus on your breath. It should be part of daily ritual. You know, what is mindfulness? It's a space between you and your thoughts, and you are able to notice exactly that. As I said earlier once, you talk to yourself as a third person, and you will find that your thoughts were just words, not having any meaning. Most of the thoughts that we have are meaningless. You know, a child is afraid of going in the dark. And then you take the child to the dark and you start saying, don't be afraid of the dark. There's nothing to be afraid of the dark. Slowly you would see the child will go to the dark and say, well, don't be afraid of the dark. There's nothing to be afraid of the dark. And you'll go in the dark. The same is about you. Practice this mindfulness. The words, they will put you on one side and your negative thoughts on the other. They'll be a barrier. Thirdly, write down your negative thoughts, whatever idea comes to you. It's a step further than recognition, step further than mindfulness. Write down any negative self-talk that's going through your mind. And then actually take up a pen and a pencil, old school type, either a pen or a pencil and paper, and start writing. And when you start writing, what happens is that you would stop thinking negatively. As I said, again, another barrier. So you are erecting one barrier after another. First is the recognition, then setting up the small attainable goals, then mindful meditation, and then writing down those thoughts. And when you write down, you will see how silly they are. If not silly, how insignificant they are, or how out of the human reach they are, whatever. But they are not related to the reality of life. And that would help you get out of that rut. And the fourth one is turn your negative thoughts into empowering thoughts. Empower them. Everything has, as they say, every cloud has a silver lining, right? So since every cloud has a silver lining, every negative thought also has a positive impact. So start thinking of the positive aspects. When going through a mental run, the goal is not always think positive. The people who say always think positive are either misleading you or they don't know anything. The reality is that the negative things happen. They are a part of life. You cannot control the whole universe. You cannot control the outside circumstances. But you have a power on your own thoughts. So these negative thoughts can be turned and converted into helpful statements. For example, your girlfriend has just dumped you. You can say, well, no one is going to love me. That's an overgeneralization. Instead, say, take a step back and then think of the situation from a first perspective. Say, well, the girl was not right for you. Then start thinking that if she has dumped you, either something is wrong with the girl or something is wrong with you. Conduct a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. And when you see that, prepare the balance sheet, you would find the reality, and maybe you find it affecting yourself, which you can improve on or remove. So take a fresh look at every failure and every negative thing. And maybe you would find that the girl dumping you was a good thing. Maybe you were deluded. You are removed from a job. So then think whether you were really happy in that job, or whether you was that not a barrier to your getting a better job, and things like that. So each negative thing can be converted not only into positive thing, but into an empowering thing. This can empower you, make you stronger and still more stronger. And then the fifth one, as I said, be proactive. If you have a history of depression and anxiety, start being proactive. They should not be taken lightly. Negative thoughts, as I said, if they're a small percentage, it's not a problem. But if they are more than 40% of the time, you should be concerned. And if they're 60%, then you need to go to a psychiatrist. It's very important to be proactive. And if you follow these pieces of advice which I've written, you will find you will automatically become proactive. Feel anxious. If you feel anxious, think about it. You see, the problem is that short-term band-aids can be very helpful because they prevent the infection. We always think of long-term benefits. No, these tips are the starting point. They will stop the epidemic from growing. Epidemic for your whole body, your whole system. And then find accountability. What will happen is, we keep on thinking, and we keep on thinking by ourselves without sharing, without participating. So find accountability. If you really want to struggling out of the gutter, right, get to know that you don't have to go through it alone. And list somebody who is to keep you accountable for your goals. It can be your friend, it can be your spouse, it can be your child, it can be your parents. A major part of the work should be to assign work and hold people accountable, and then don't do it. If they do it outside, that's their problem. We have to tell people what is important and what is not so important. So if you have somebody else with you, and actually if you are a team, at one time you can be the confidante, the other time the other person can be confidante, so you two together can do it. A person on whom you can depend. So these tips will enable you to remain out of rut, not only to get out of rut, but to remain out of rut. And then you would find life would be much more enjoyable, much more positive, much more livable. And then what's more better? Enjoying life, making life livable, worthwhile. And that you can do if you follow the tips. And thus you are bettering thyself. Thank you.